Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Altcoin Mentors YouTube channel. My name is Peter. I'm going to be doing the daily coin updates. So over the last week or so, most of the coins have been in a staging area. It's been going sideways for the most of the time. Our long-term and medium-term for the major coins, Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin, are all negative. And surprisingly, all of our short-term trades or trends are neutral. So one of the things we're going to talk about today is how to trade in a sideways, time period. And that can be really hard because a lot of times, like for myself personally, I don't want to be making a million trades, in a day, right? I want to make one or two trades in a day and make some money. But when it's very, very choppy, like it is now, when it's in certain zones, it can be hard to make some money. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So as you can see, most of the time my charts are very, very consistent. I try to use the same charts over and over again, and I keep them, and I just keep on adding to my old charts. So this way, people who haven't seen our charts recently can kind of get an idea of what we did in the past. And then as they look into the future, they can see if the advice that we've given, the things that we've done, stay very consistent and profitable. So let me show you Bitcoin. I use the hourly chart for our short-term trades. And so our hourly charts have been doing okay. We took a couple of long signals here, here, here. We recently took a short signal here. We're thinking about taking a short signal down over here. Same thing with Ether. Right, we took a couple of long signals up. Recently, we've been taking short signals down. Litecoin, we've been taking some up signals as well, and then recently some short signals. But here, it's in a very neutral state. So we'll talk about that. Because last week, I created these little zones. And, I created this on the 7th of last week. And it's pretty much stayed true to form. So let's expand it out. So this is sideways action. If it breaks out of here, it'll go into a resistance zone. And once it breaks out, it'll go into our profit zone because our target is 9,400. So as it goes a little bit higher, it gets into a little bit more trouble. So if we expand this out a little bit, right, just sideways, you can see that that's where the action has been. So basically the floor, the support has been near the 7,600 level, but not like right at it. It was here last week, but now it's been going a little bit higher than that. So it's been around 7,800, 7,900. And then there is a little mini resistance in a sideways action at about 8,500. And then we have our resistance zone. It's only gone into it once, twice. It popped into it recently, and then it started to come back down. So let's also look at the Ether, right? Same thing. So I did the same thing here. I said that if it's going to channel, it might go to the resistance area, and then if it goes clear, it'll go up to the profit zone. And same thing for Litecoin. So the only difference with Litecoin is that the Litecoin has resistance at 155. And then beyond that is another mini resistance area between 173 and 190. So this was a little bit different because on our first time on our long signal, we took a long and actually it went through our choppy zone and it hit our target of 155. So same thing, that's what we've been doing now. We've been taking our longs. Once it passes this area here and it closes, then what we do is we'll put our trailer at what used to be our previous profit target at 155. It goes a bit higher, and then here, in this zone here, right, this is where you can figure out where you're going to, right, take profits, right, in this little area over here, right? So this might be, one of the little profit areas for people in the future. So this is where we're stuck in. So now we're going down here, and then so now if we expand this out, same thing, right? You'll see that's where it's been. It's been in this little choppy area most of the time. It broke out a little bit. Here's where you kind of take profits. As it trails down, it goes down here. You can go back up again, maybe go back down, but it's a very, very close action. So how do we trade this? So after 20 plus years of day trading, futures and Forex, the problem with sideways action is that you need to be able to get in quicker and get out faster, right? So it's basically the idea of FIFO, right? First in, first out. That's the only way you make money. Number two is that you have to be a profit taker. So you can't try to make a lot of money. You have to take small profits, but you just do it over and over and over again. It could be for different things. So let's start with Bitcoin. So how do you make money in this choppy period? So one of the things you do is by reducing your time period. Sometimes you don't know, right? So no one is that brilliant and they can say, oh yes, this was a choppy period here, it might go back down. No, nobody knows that. Because for me, I thought this was a choppy period, but once it got to resistance, I thought it would bounce around here and maybe go back up. But it did the opposite, it went right back down. So once it goes back in here, then I have to figure out what can I do to make some money. So what you have to do is you have to, in my opinion at least, you have to go down to a smaller time frame. So here would be 15 minutes. So let's zoom in here. Let's widen this thing out a little bit. All right, we'll take this yellow out, right, so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so in this area now, the charts become maybe a little bit better. There are some better profit targets in here, and that's really what you really want to do. So if you want to make profits, what you want to do is you want to make profits. Let's say you wanted to go up. Let's say there's a signal here. So let's say you want to go up here. Then what you have to realize is that in a choppy period, your profit target is probably going to be up around here. Right? Maybe if you're lucky, right, you might get close to here. So what you have to do is you have to create little ceilings for yourself. So you might say, well, I want to wait for it to run, right? And that's fine. That's just human nature. But in this sideways market, the only way you can make money is, for example, if you get in here at about 8,300 to get out at 8,500, to get out at 8,700. If you don't get out, there's a chance that it might snap back down because we've been channeling up, down, and then now what was once a $200 profit, maybe about 2.5% profit, turns into a really tiny profit or break even, or at the worst, if it goes back down, into a loss. So that's one of the things you want to try to avoid. So then here, even though we use the hourly, and that's where the stop comes in, if we were trading off the 15 minute, then what would happen is that we would get some more signals. So that means that our signal would have been here on the 15 minute. All right, so let's go long signal. And then same thing. So you extend this line out. If you have a long signal, you have to understand that profit is right around there. So that meant that even here at this level, when you get in at about 8,100, you have to be willing to take profits somewhere in the 8,300 range. It goes to 8,500. You definitely should start taking profits out. So let's say you get in with 1 Bitcoin or half a Bitcoin. So as it goes higher into stages, you might want to parcel it out. So you go in here in a long position, and then at 8,300, you take a little bit of profit. At 8,500, you take a little bit more profit. If it curls back down, you may close out your position at 8,300. You may wait for it to go. Maybe put your stop loss here at about 8,150. Then you might be protected. Because then now you've had, you took profits, right, at these two levels, right here and here. And then now, as it's staying here, you're like, you know what? I'm still a little bit profitable. I'm going to give it a little bit of space. I'm going to put my stop loss over here, right, underneath this little line. Right, I'll turn it to it's a trailing stop, right, because it's not really a stop loss anymore. So then that's what you would do. So if you closed out your position, so let's say you had a Bitcoin, you might get rid of like 25% here, 25% here. Now half the position is still profitable, and you're going to trail it a little bit, and this way you're going to give it some more distance. So that's one of the ways you can trade it. So let's go with Ether. Same thing with Ether. What you do is you might shorten the time period to the 15 minute. Now this way here on my last Ether trade, I got stop lossed out at about 795, and it would be like right around here. But in this case here, I might have gotten back in if I was using the 5 minute, the 15 minute, sorry. right? I probably would have gotten back in here. Right, so that would have been a long signal. And then once again, right, the understanding is that you have to take some profits. So the first area, right, of profits is right here. So it came really close. So if it hits your profit target, then that's where you want to go. And then now what was once this floor here, right, that would might be your stop loss. So then as you trail it, it goes here. If you didn't get rid of some of your positions here, right, you put a stop loss here, and then somewhere in between this line, you remember it, and you might get out here, or you might get out if it doesn't break this line up over here, right, which is about 840. So here, what you have is you have two areas where you can take some profits, one around 840 and one around 855. That's if you had gotten in at about 815. And if you put your trailer right here, you'd be at 820, so you have a small profit. So let's look at the Litecoin. So we zoom it down, we go in, move this down. All right, so same thing here. Let's expand it. So here, same thing. We had trailed it before, and we had gotten out actually a little bit late. But here, this is what this could have been a nice place to in futures. What we call it is a reverse. Basically, all you do is you just double your order to the other side. So let's say you're shorting. Let's say you're shorting one Bitcoin. Then to reverse it, what you do is you make sure that when it hits your stop loss, you change that order to 2. So now you are covering your one short position with one Bitcoin, and then you're going long on the other Bitcoin. So at 148.50, that would have been a decent place to do that. And then at 155, which was our previous target here, that would have been a good place to take profits. So here you could have done that once, wait for it to come back, and maybe done it again and take a couple of small, very small winners. And that's the understanding about day trading. Is that when you're day trading, especially in smaller cycles like this where it's channeling, you have to take very, very small profits. There's not a lot of periods where you're going to make $2,000-3,000 in a day. Those days are still around once in a while if you're lucky, but most of the time they're going up in small increments, and so you have to take your profits. That's really the way to day trade. As your time cycle gets shorter and shorter and shorter, you have to understand that your profits have to get shorter. So that's why if you're a long-term investor, you're going for bigger winners than swing traders. Swing traders are going for bigger winners than the short-term people. And then the short-term people are they're going for bigger winners than day traders. So if you're a day trader and you're trying to make a lot of money, then you actually might be hitting yourself in the head over and over again. Because the question you might be asking yourself is, how come I'm not taking profit so quickly? It's because the mentality is that you always want to make as much money as you can. But the problem is in day trading, your time horizon is a little bit smaller. So you have to take profits. So as it gets into levels, you take profits. So same thing on Litecoin, on Ether, and on Bitcoin. So hope this helps. Hopefully we'll get out of a channel pretty soon and we can start making some better money. But until then, just keep on trading well and take profits. Have a good night.